We're going to talk a little bit about the power of one more today as it relates to setting you up for success and helping to push you beyond maybe your current limits and help you to see that you can reach totally new limits of achievement. How can the power of one more change the trajectory of your health? The small, consistent changes that you choose to do have that accumulative effect on your health and your well-being.
You're listening to the Visibly Fit Podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Wendie Pett, and every week I'll give you holistic, practical solutions for everyday issues related to nutrition, healing, functional fitness, and behavior modifications. As a naturopath, fitness expert, and wellness coach for over 20 years, my goal is to empower you to reach for greater health and to rise up to your next level of living in mind, body, and spirit. You were created with greatness in mind. It's time to own it. Are you with me? Then let's dive in.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to the Visibly Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Wendie Pett. I love spending this time with you. This is always a joy for me, and I hope it is for you too. I hope you enjoy my solo shows, and I hope you enjoy the people that I bring on to interview. Now, if you ever have a topic that you are highly interested in, please send me just an email. Tell me what you're interested in, and I will bring someone on, or I will highlight it myself on a solo show. But I really want to bring quality content to you that will inspire you, encourage you, that will educate you and get you onto the right track of your health and your well-being, mind, body, spirit, and emotions. So do not be shy. Feel free to let me know. I welcome those comments. I'm going to be sharing a little bit today about the power of one more. And that is recently a book that I recently listened to. I didn't read it. I listened to it while I was cleaning the house a little bit and cooking and that kind of thing. But it's by Ed Mylett. And I have followed Ed Mylett for a long time. He's got a podcast. And if you've ever listened to it, it's like the Ed Mylett Show. He's got this deep intro about the show, and I think I was get a kick out of it. Anyway, the Ed Mylett Show. Anyway, he's a great guy, and I think he's from maybe the real estate space and maybe the tech space, maybe both, but he's very encouraging, motivating, and he does some great interviews and that kind of thing. So I've listened to him for a long time. My husband and I both have, but I was listening again to his book, The Power of One More, The Ultimate Guide to Happiness and Success. And I just completed it. And there's a lot of stuff that I knew, right? But a lot of stuff came up. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's really good. That's good stuff to remember. We all know, I think those of you that are listening that are on board with me, with the same faith, that the ultimate guide to happiness and success is the Bible. And I would imagine that Ed Mylett would even agree with that. But his book does share quite a bit, and it's good things to touch on. It's good. It crosses over with some Tony Robbins stuff and just other people in the health space that have shared with mindset techniques and that kind of thing. But it's always good reminders. So the power of one more, we're going to be really talking about that and focusing there. But before I go there, I want to share with you, which I have before in another podcast, but there's a reason I'm bringing this up. But the show is brought to you by this lovely breathing device. Now, this breathing device comes in handy. I'm telling you, my husband and I use these often to help strengthen our respiratory system. I was actually just ill not too long ago, and this helped within my recovery. It helped for my quicker recovery. I was doing my infrared sauna and, eating, of course, whole food, plant-based, resting when I needed to rest, get vitamin D, all those things as well, drinking plenty of liquids. But this breathing device really helps tremendously. So I want you to have one. I really do. Now, this one is the Breather Fit. So this is more for athletes, that kind of thing, to enhance your performance. But there's 4 different ones: the Breather Recovery, the Breather Voice. So if you are a speaker or someone who sings for a living or plays an instrument, that would be for you, or this Breather Fit. Anyway, they all have a purpose. And if you have dealt with any kind of pulmonary disorder, COPD, or maybe you've dealt with long COVID, or maybe flu or pneumonia, something like that, or you know somebody that has, this device needs to be in your hot little hands, and you need to use it often and to really strengthen your lungs. This is vital, and to get the oxygen that we need in our body to heal. So this and to recover. So this will really help with that respiratory training. There have been tons of clinical studies that have proven the benefits and the recovery benefits of this device. So if you or someone that you love is dealing with any kind of, COPD or any kind of pulmonary issues, get this, have it on hand. It's not an expensive tool, but it will really change your health and change it quickly. So you can get $12 off this little device here. And all you do is inhale like this. And exhale. Could you hear that? I hope you could. Anyway, it's really simple, but you can continue to build the strength of your respiratory system when you use this, not just when you're ill, but to keep you strong so you don't get ill, and to overcome some pulmonary issues if you're dealing with them. But if you go to the link in the show notes, I will have it there, the special link that you can go to, and you will get $12 off when you use promo code Visibly Fit, all caps, all one word. Okay. So do not miss out on this. You do want this. And this is what the show is sponsored by, this breather device today. And the reason it is sponsored by this is because Ed Mylett's father actually had COPD. And so I was thinking about him, and I thought, man, I wish he had this in his hot little hands and was using this when he could use it to help that issue. But later on, he had lymphocarcinoma. So it's cancer in the fatty tissues of your body that he ultimately ended up passing away from. So that is sad to hear. I won't tell you all the details of the book and all of his stories, but sounds like just a really, he left some really good, impactful nuggets for Ed Mylett, and he's living them today. And one of them is the power of one more. And so his dad, I'll share this one little snippet about him, but he is a recovered alcoholic. And so he would look at every day as the power of one more day of sobriety. I can go one more day, right? Like, he didn't look at the long haul. He looked at the one more. And that's what kept him successful in his sobriety, and the power of keeping one more of his fellow, AA friends sober by accountability, by making one more phone call, and just the power of one more. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the power of one more today, as it relates to setting you up for success and helping to push you beyond maybe your current limits, and help you to see that you can reach totally new limits of achievement. Okay. Now, not in the sense of like striving and one more and drive yourself to hit a wall, right? And be exhausted and depleted. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about consistency. I'm talking about the consistent mindset of let's do one more. Let's do one more task. Let's do one more rep. Let's do, one more effort, so that you can build that discipline and you can build that resilience and that growth mindset. Because if we aren't building that growth mindset, then we just become complacent. We become stuck. We become stagnant, and we become just status quo. And we don't want that either. So when I was listening to his book, a lot of it was like, yeah, I've heard all this before. I've heard of this from Tony Robbins. I've heard it from different people. I share it and teach it myself. Like, it's not all new stuff. There's nothing new under the sun, right? But sometimes we can hear something from someone else that sinks in a little bit differently, or we hear stories of overcoming, progress by doing just one more step. that can kind of propel us into taking one more significant step so that we can reach our goals and have the success in our personal and our professional endeavors that we desire. And that's what we want. So the power of one more. How can the power of one more propel you toward your goals? Think about that for just a second. What's the one more that you could do that could affect, let's just go talking about our health and our well-being, since this is a health podcast, right? Let's just go there. How can the power of one more change the trajectory of your health? Well, I've shared before that I roll out of bed and I do push-ups right away before I'm even awake in the morning. And it's created a discipline. It's created it's the norm for me, right? But it's not one of those, like, I don't know, like if I don't get it in, then I'm going to be shaming or blaming myself. It's not that kind of thing. Like, I do it for me, right? But the other day I was ill, and I was really ill. Like, I was weak. I had a fever. I was not doing well, but I still rolled out of bed and I went down to do push-ups. Now, the difference of that day was that I could only do one push-up. It took all I had to do one push-up. That's how weak I was. But I still had the discipline. I did it. Now, I'm normally doing anywhere between 20 and 40, like not a lot of push-ups, but that's my typical, right? And so, but every time I do them, I'm like, okay, can I do one more? Can I do one more? So I'm always pushing to do just that one more. And over time, I've gotten better because I didn't start out doing 40 push-ups, right? And to a lot of people, that's like, oh my gosh, 40, like that's not very many. And that's okay. But I started out just doing a few, and then you build upon it. But that one day I couldn't do that. I could only do the one. And I had to give myself grace and know that it was still good, right? The power of doing one more morning of doing push-ups next to my bed, that's a win. That is success. And so I want you to think about your one more. What does it look like? And is it one more where you are striving and stressing? Because that's really not going to help you. One more can be one more glass of water. I'm going to have a sip right here. Right here, I can feel my throat a little scratchy. But one more glass of water, right, can have a massive impact on your health. One more push-up can have an impact on your strength. One more minute, or I shouldn't say minute, but maybe even a second or two of like a hang, like a dead hang, can add more grip strength. And when you have more grip strength, it's been shown that you are able to live longer based on your grip strength. So we got to build upon the one more second, the one more minute. Everything that we do that is one more, that isn't overtaxing us and stressing us to the max, but yet it's getting us into a discipline. It can have a positive impact on our health. I mean, think about just exercise and physical activity. What if you just embraced just one more, I don't know, walk around the block, one more mile, one more push-up, and maybe it is just the one more Visibly Fit 7x11, right? If you don't know what that is, go to my website and grab yours today for free, wendiepett.com. You definitely want these exercises. But what if it's one more rep? It's the one more lap. It's that one more minute of exercise. See, it's not just, it's really just, it's the mindset. It's the discipline. It's all of that encourages you to push beyond yourself and your perceived limits. I think those perceived limits are what keep us stuck, because we have only gone, this far. So we've never maybe attempted that one more. What if you just attempted the one more? How would your life be different? that regular physical activity, it's associated with so many health benefits. I mean, we know cardiovascular, strength, endurance, but it also increases and enhances your mood. It reduces your risk of chronic disease. So that one more and that one more mindset can keep you living a lot longer and keep you living quality years. And that's what we want. We want you to have healthy habits and behaviors. I think that's what you want, right? And so how many times do you stop, attempting healthy habits because you quote unquote fail, or you feel like you failed because you stopped, or, you let life get in the way? Well, when you can start having that mindset of one more, it will literally start to change and allow you to adopt and maintain healthy habits and behaviors. It really will. It will encourage you to make just incremental changes and improvements along the way so that your lifestyle starts to you show up differently. You show up differently when you've got the one more mindset. I mean, what if you just put one more plant on every plate? You started having one more salad a day. I mentioned drinking water. One more glass of water. That can make a huge difference. What if you got one more hour of sleep? I mean, I'm not saying like maybe if you're already getting, 8 or 9 hours, you don't need one more hour. But what if you are sleep deprived and you just go to bed an hour earlier? How much difference will your body feel? You will have an opportunity for your body to repair and heal itself at night. I mean, just imagine, what's one more hour going to give you? Because really the small, consistent changes that you choose to do have that accumulative effect on your health and your well-being. Seriously, when you can embrace the power of one more, you're building that mental resilience muscle. You're building coping skills. Because when you're faced with challenges or setbacks, just like when I was sick the other day, that was a setback, but my mind said, you're going to do it. It's all good. You're still going to do it. That one more set of push-ups. And it was only one. That was my set, but I did it. And so that mindset, it just encourages you to continue with that discipline and determination and have that persistence. Because when you start doing that one more in one area, it kind of just spills over in other areas. It really does. It starts to teach you that setbacks are temporary and you can just keep pushing forward no matter what. I don't care if it's in your financial lifestyle, life, or if it's a relationship situation. Just one more step forward can really change the trajectory of your health and your well-being. And it will promote a positive outcome, a positive mindset. It will reduce stress. You will be able to cope with adversity in a whole new way. People will watch you and see you in these moments and say, wow, that's amazing. Is she getting through that? Well, it's because you decided one more phone call. Maybe it's a business thing. One more phone call, one more, one more dollar in savings, right? Because every dollar counts and every dollar builds upon the other. What if it's just, I don't know, one more creative outlet opportunity, right? Like maybe you attempt something new with your creative, in the creative zone that you've never attempted before, but you try one more outlet and then you find the one that you can really sink your teeth into, because we need to stay creative. We need to have that creative flow in our life because that also allows us to be successful and happy. And so what is that one more for you? Because that one more mindset will foster a continual desire for that personal growth and self-improvement. It really does. And it like, I don't know, it really allows for like a ripple effect of goodness around you to occur, because you're not caught up in the I failed, I can't, all those things. You're in more of a different zone of accomplishment. You're in the zone of abundance. You're in the zone of increase. Your self-confidence accelerates and you just become better overall. Now, it doesn't mean you become perfect, but you become better. And you might even become better at saying, your one more might be saying no to somebody. It's a one more no to somebody that's asked you to do something that would take up too much time and you don't have the bandwidth right now. So one more isn't always about saying yes, right? The one more can be about evaluating what you have on your schedule and saying, wow, if I say no to this and that, and this is one more no, then I will have the opportunity to say one more yes to something else. And so it's knowing yourself well enough and knowing what area do I really want to excel in, what's going to be my non-negotiables, and have that set in place. Because I promise, I know you want to reach your goals. I know you want to get there, instead of being on that same loop of, attempting, failing, and then quitting, attempting, failing, quitting. Instead of seeing maybe the attempt and then the fail as a fail, look at it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to see that, okay, where could I have done something different? Could I have done a one more in this situation? And then all of a sudden, you're not into a attempt, fail, quit scenario. You're in an attempt, succeed, keep going scenario. And so what kind of comes up? What kind of emotions bubble up to the surface when you're even thinking about the attempt, fail, quit, or the attempt, succeed, and keep going kind of cycle? What emotions come up? And starting to look at your lifestyle and the one more opportunities in your life and asking yourself, okay, am I even giving myself the opportunity to say, let's do one more. Let's do one more, another go at it. Because one of the things that Ed Mylett also talks about is the last one more, one last one more. Because we all have one last one more. And of course, he's talking about more towards the end of our days, or it could be even the end of a career, the end of a relationship, the end of something, right? And it doesn't have to be anything negative that it's an end of, but it's still that one last one more. So are you giving a one last one more effort in a relationship that might not be going so well right now? Are you giving yourself a one last one more opportunity to maybe get some therapy or some counsel, or digging into God's word? Are you giving yourself another one last one more to hear from God? Are you giving yourself a one last one more to just sit and hear from God instead of always talking to God? Now, it's great that we pray, and that's another thing. One more prayer, the power in prayer. One more prayer. Oh my gosh, I would love to tell you our story. I'm going to tell you a story. So we had some friends over for dinner the other night, and yeah, this is cool. So we were discussing just life and kids and this and that, and, solving all the world's problems. And we decided to have a little time of prayer. And so the four of us gathered around and we prayed, and it was a beautiful prayer. And the couple that was here, so anyway, I'll tell you, the couple that was here, he said to me, he's coming home. And we were talking about our children, right? Maybe if they're not fully walking with the Lord or whatever. Anyway, long story short, the very next day, we get a call from this lovely couple, and they were blown away because their son, who isn't walking with the Lord right now, but I believe he will be soon, through and through. But his son literally called them. He lives in another state. He called them and said, we're moving home. We're coming back to Minnesota. Drop the mic. They had been praying for a very long time that he would come back to this state to live and to come back home. And coming back home has many, many meanings, but that one more prayer, right, can unlock the next steps for somebody else, because the spiritual world is happening around us, right? And so our prayers unlock a lot of things that we cannot actually see, and it unlocks hearts, it unlocks minds, emotions, all kinds of things. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that because the power of prayer. And so it might be one more prayer that you need to pray, or pray over somebody in full belief that that things are going to change, because God hears our prayers, and it shakes loose next things that are to happen and to come. So have that one more prayer. That's pretty cool. Now, something else that I want to encourage you about, especially since the pandemic, there's been a lot of kind of people becoming more introverted. And I was always really extroverted, and I still kind of am, but I'm a little more introverted now. And I think it's kind of weird, but wonderful too. I don't know how to explain it, but yet there's something so powerful when we come together in person and have relationships and have our tribe and just the power of community, right? Like that's why it's so important to go to church, so that you can have the power of community. And even if you're not always talking with someone at church, just being around other believers is powerful. So you might need to have one more mentality of being intentional about getting out and meeting with people, right? Like being social and embracing the power that one more can extend in building and nurturing social connections, because we are social beings and our health really thrives when we are in a social setting. I know when I'm with my family or with friends, man, I do so much better. And so I want to encourage us all to do that one more yes of taking the time, energy, and effort to go and meet with different people. I actually just met with a girlfriend that I hadn't seen in, oh gosh, it's going on, I think it's been like 4.5 years. You wouldn't know that sometimes because of social media. It makes you feel like you've seen these people, but you haven't in person. And so anyway, I had gone up to her home and long story, I went to my mailbox, which is not, it's my business mailbox, and it's quite a ways from where I live. And anyway, just, I don't know, I felt the prompting of the Holy Spirit to go over to this gal's house. And I went over there. She didn't answer, but I texted her and all kinds of things. And anyway, she was so thrilled that I had come over, because she had been in a really tough place for a couple months, a really tough kind of depression and anxiety and different things like that. And so by me coming to her home and taking that extra mile, that one more intentional step of doing something that's out of the ordinary, it bolstered her faith. The next day, she texted me and said she was out of her funk. She was out of that darkness, just knowing that I was there, knowing that I was praying for her, just knowing that I went the extra mile, right? And I didn't know why, but God did. And so anyway, we met the other day for a dinner, and it was so beautiful to reconnect. And it was like we picked up right where we left off from 4.5 years ago. But just the power of coming together and being able to hug and to pray over her. And it's just an amazing experience and opportunity. So I just want to share that with you, because sometimes it might be like doing one more thing in your life that feels like it's going to be a little more energy, right? Like getting dressed and driving. There was there was like major traffic. It took me almost an hour to go and meet with her for dinner. I could have easily said, you know what, maybe another time. But I pressed in because I thought, I need to do one more. I need to do one more time of connecting. I need to make one more bit of effort in this relationship, because this is about investing. This is about loving on people and having that social, strong connection that we thrive with. We thrive with these social connections that are really strong, and to have that support and to provide support and companionship when someone is in need is it's powerful. It not only blessed her, but it blessed me. Anyway, long story short, the power of saying one more can make a difference, not just in your life, but in the life of somebody else. So where will you say one more? Where will you do that one more thing to help with your health and your well-being? And again, it could be saying no to something. It might be you've got too much on your schedule plate and you can't handle not another thing. It might be saying no, and that's okay. But what is that one more that will get you into a harmonious state that will allow you to become better and stronger and more equipped for all that God has for you? So I challenge you today. I challenge you to figure out, how can I create healthier habits, build more mental resilience, have more discipline, really, have that regular exercise and eat well, and have that encouraging kind of lifestyle that others start to ask questions about, so that you can nurture your social connections, not just by your words, but how you show up for yourself, right? For yourself. So that's the question. Where will you do that one more today that will propel you toward your goals? All right. I'm Wendie Pett. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. I hope you are encouraged, inspired, and that you will give it a go to figure out how the power of one more can make a difference in your life. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We will catch you next week on the Visibly Fit podcast. If you are looking for one more step to reaching your health and your wellness goals, and you are looking for a program that works, go to getvisiblyfit.com. Let's work together. The power of these 7 weeks is, oh my goodness. I can tell you story after story after story of people getting off medications, releasing unhealthy, unwanted weight, getting strong, not just in their physical body, but in their mental fortitude, in their spiritual growth. It is life-changing. Again, go to getvisiblyfit.com. Let's work together today. All right. Well, before we go today, I wanted to read a scripture verse to you. Actually, it's a couple verses, but really the power of one more, and how God talks about this too. That's right. Actually, it's in 2 Peter 1:3-10. And I'm just going to read it. It says, let's see, I've got the NLT version. Yes, here we go. It says, God's divine power has given us everything we need for life and for godliness. This power was given to us through knowledge of the one who called us by his own glory and integrity. Through his glory and integrity, he has given us his promises that are the highest value. Through these promises, you will share in the divine nature, because you have escaped the corruption and sinful desires caused in the world. Because of this, make every effort to add integrity to your faith, and to integrity, add knowledge. To knowledge, add self-control. To self-control, add endurance. To endurance, add godliness. To godliness, add Christian affection. And to Christian affection, add love. If you have these qualities and they are increasing, it demonstrates that your knowledge about our Lord Jesus Christ is living and productive. If these qualities are not present in your life, you're short-sighted and have forgotten that you were cleansed from your past sins. So therefore, brothers and sisters, use more effort to make God's calling and choosing of you secure. If you keep doing this, you will never fall away. And again, that is 2 Peter 1:3-10. And I was thinking about, that one more mindset and that one more. this is like a one more character strengthening thing that God tells us about, right? Not just character, but he talks about, again, integrity to faith, the integrity, add knowledge. So it's that one more, adding that knowledge to that integrity. Then you're adding that self-control to knowledge. Then you're adding endurance to that self-control. Then you're adding godliness to endurance. And then you're adding Christian affection to godliness. And then you're adding love to the Christian affection. So it's that one more. It's that one more. All right. Just wanted you to think of it through the lenses of God's eyes as well. Hope that helps. All right. God bless, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Well, that's a wrap for today's show. So thank you so much for tuning in. I love spending this time with you. To learn more and get more free resources, just head on over to wendiepett.com. And thank you in advance for sharing this episode and this podcast, following and subscribing not only to this podcast, but finding me on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. I'm probably there too. Until next week and our next podcast time together, make it a visibly fit day.